Hello, I'm Jeremy Davis, and I would like to welcome you to the first video of my channel, Jeremy Davis Books. I really don't know what I'm doing. I just want to talk about books, and I thought I'd just figure it out as I go. So, I have my notes here that I've written out. You'll see me referring to them quite a bit, I'm sure. I'm planning on using this channel to share thoughts on books and writing. I'll be doing lists of my favorite books and my least favorite books. I'll be doing reviews probably, you know, all the stuff that normally comes out on channels like this. But I'll also be doing some readings of short writings that I love, some of which will be mine. A little bit about me. I am a theater actor living in New York City. In addition to reading, I love to cook. I love to eat. I'm a yogi. I'm a photographer. What else? I don't know. I think I'll start with the Booktube Newbie tag and take it from there. So let's get going. Question 1, why did you start this channel? Well, I love reading, like anybody that's in this part of YouTube does. I love reading and I want to talk about it. My wife and I talk about the books we read, of course, but I am interested in broadening those discussions and trying to expand out. I haven't been part of Booktube for very long at all. I really just started watching other Booktubers a few weeks ago, so I'm a total novice, but I'm excited to become part of the community. So if I do something wrong or silly, or if I break an unwritten rule, please let me know and I will try to remedy it. Another reason I'm here is that I'm trying to build an audience for my own writing. After decades of reading, I began to wonder if I might be able to put a book of my own out there. I started writing and eventually I went back to school, and at the end of this past summer, I finished my master's in creative writing. My concentration was in fiction, but I also like to write essays. I don't have a finished full-length novel yet. I'm working on a couple, but I do have a bunch of short stories and flash fiction and essays that I'm ready to share, and I thought Booktube would be a good place to do that. So in the videos to come, in addition to talking about books I love, I'll also periodically be doing readings of my own work and hoping people like it. Question number 2. What are some fun and unique things you can bring to Booktube? I don't know. I have an optimistic outlook on life, and I tend to interpret stories through that lens. I see the strife and the struggle and sadness in stories for the good they can do, the transformations that they can inspire, not just in the characters, but in the reader. I think that art and literature in particular is a force of good in the world, and I probably don't have to convince anyone of that who is watching this. Question number 3, what are you most excited for about this new channel? In addition to connecting with other readers and building an audience for my writing, I am most excited about the accountability this channel will give me. Since I finished my degree, I've been struggling to keep a writing schedule and get stories finished. I think that's because I don't have any deadlines anymore. So I'm planning to use this channel as a way to generate my own assignments and my own deadlines. You know, like if I have to finish something to read it for a video, then I'm gonna have to finish it. Question number 4, why do you love reading? I love the broadening of perspective that reading offers. In Salman Rushdie's masterclass, he says something like, a book is a writer telling you, this is how I see the world. And that's what I love about reading. It's the opportunity to see from someone else's perspective. Literature gives us this amazing opportunity to see through other people's eyes. The author's perspective is different than mine. The perspectives of the characters are different from mine. By reading stories from different points of view, written by authors with different ways of seeing the world, I believe we become more nuanced and empathetic people. I think reading makes us better people. That's why I love reading. Question number 5, What book or series got you into reading? I think it was Lloyd Alexander's The Chronicles of Prydain. I had read a few things before that, but that's really what hooked me. If you don't know it, it's a 5-book series published in the mid to late 60s, and it's based on a bunch of Welsh myths. It's fantasy adventure for young readers, and it's got everything that we've come to know and love in that genre. A young boy who dreams of adventure. In this story, he's an assistant pig keeper. There's a smart, sassy princess. There's a wise wizard. There's a lord of death, etc., etc. And these tropes, though familiar to me now, were totally new to elementary school me. And the books just grabbed me by the collar. After that, my mom turned me toward The Hobbit. Then I went on to The Lord of the Rings, and by then I was fully submerged and ready to go even deeper into the literary ocean. Question number 6. What questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? I would ask, how do I keep this thing going? And how do I get people to watch my videos? How do I maintain a schedule of creating content week after week? And how do you let that not affect your own enjoyment of reading? Number 7, what challenges do you think starting a Booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? As you can guess from my answers to the previous question, I am mostly concerned about consistency of uploading and getting people to watch, and still enjoying reading. I don't want this to become a job. I mean, I don't anticipate it will, but I just don't want that to happen. I've never been very good at social media, and so that's sort of what I'm worried about. I might fail at the social media part of it. Question 8. When did you start reading? I was young. My mom is retired now, but for decades she taught composition and literature, and books just spilled out of the house. She read stories to me before bed when I was young, of course, and the things she chose were very high quality. Just So stories by Rudyard Kipling, the Winnie the Pooh stories by A. Milne, and she also encouraged me to read those things on my own. So those were the books that I was using when I was learning to read. Number 9, where do you read? Since I live in New York City, the subway is a big reading spot for me. I also read before bed, but that's not very focused reading, you know? You're getting tired and going to sleep. And we also have a really great old chair that belonged to my wife's grandmother, and it's really cozy. I love sitting in it and reading when it's during the day. Number 10, what kind of books do you like to read? I mostly read fiction, but I also like essays, and when I'm feeling really ambitious, I will try some poetry. When I was young, I almost exclusively read fantasy adventure. You know, I started with Prydain and Lord of the Rings. I read Anne McCaffrey, the Pern series, and The Wheel of Time, although that, of course, pushed into my adult years. And then in my early 20s, I found Kurt Vonnegut. So that launched me into a more sci-fi, speculative, literary phase. When I was in my mid-20s, I picked up The Count of Monte Cristo. I think because a coworker was reading it, but that book sparked a love of the classics. And nowadays, that's what I'm most excited for. I love the classics. I love John Steinbeck and Virginia Woolf and the Brontes, and Jane Austen, and Gabriel Garcia Marquez, Margaret Atwood, Larry McMurtry. Like, those are the kinds of things that I generally get really jazzed about. Contemporary literature tends to disappoint me a little bit, so I mostly stick to those stories that have been tested. That's not to say I don't like any contemporary lit. I love David Mitchell, and Cloud Atlas, I think, is one of my favorite books of all time. I love A Gentleman in Moscow by Amor Towles. I love Susanna Clarke. I love Barbara Kingsolver, Jhumpa Lahiri. I mean, there are a lot of contemporary writers that I do like to read, but at the same time, a lot of the best reviewed books of the year end up not being to my taste. I have planned to do a video to explore that. And question number 11, what does your book collection look like? Since we live in New York City, we don't have a lot of space, and so we just have one little bookshelf where we keep the books we love, like the absolute favorites, and what we're reading and what's on our reading list. Everything else we keep off-site. We're really lucky to have two sets of parents who have a little bit extra space and can hold some bookshelves for us. I think what that means for my videos is that my current bookshelf that I have now is going to dictate a lot of the content that I create. And that brings me to the end of my newbie tag for this video. I would like to say thank you so much if you've made it this far. Welcome to the channel, and please comment below if you have questions or thoughts, and I hope to see you for the next video. Thank you so much.